Hello, 413. On this segment of Sizemore Tech Tidbits, we're going to discuss Google Sheets and how to turn your data into charts and graphs. As always, I will share all of the resources in here on my website. I'm going to start by opening up a Google Sheet, as you can see here, that has some unformatted data in it. I am not a science teacher, so please forgive me if I use an incorrect term as we're going here, but I thought using science data was the best way to go through this. We are pretending that I did an 8-week science experiment on how plants grow in sterilized soil versus non-sterilized soil. Now, I like it when things are pretty and organized, so I'm going to walk you through how I format my table of data. So please know that this is not required to get a chart or graph. It's just something that makes me feel better. I'm just going to highlight it all and merge it because actually that will look better. And then I'm going to select all of this and put borders around it. While that is all selected, I'm going to make sure everything is centered that way and this way. So if it goes over, it's okay. Then I'm going to make my columns a little bit wider and I'm going to bold my headings here. Now, I did learn something, and you will notice here on this, I have all of these labels here, and I thought, oh, I want everything to be in centimeters. I want to make sure everyone knows these are the weeks. But what I learned was when you go to actually make a chart, that having all of those labels actually screws things up. So we're going to flip over here because you'll see on this chart, I deleted the week title and I deleted the centimeters from my plant growth because we'll add those back in later. The first thing you're going to want to do is highlight the cells that contain the data that you want in your chart. And then we're going to go to Insert Chart. And this is where you will pick your type of chart. Based on the data it sees, it does say just a few, but we have lines, area, column, bar, pie, scatter, even some map, and then some other charts that have more specific applications. Let's say for this one, I want to do a column chart because I want to be able to see the sterilized and non-sterilized right next to each other. Make sure you are picking your chart type before you go in and personalize all of your labels and everything because it won't remember them when you switch. So I know this is the chart I want, so now I'm going to go over here to customize it. And the first thing I want to do is get my title and axis titles all labeled. So I'm going to label my whole chart, my plant growth. And I want to center that because you know I like things centered and pretty, and I want to bold it. And let's change the font there too. It has an auto color, but let's jazz it up a little because you know that's what the students are going to want to do as well. So once I have my chart title, then I can put a subtitle if your chart demands a subtitle, or I can just go to my horizontal and vertical axis titles. So for this one, I'm going to put weeks. And let's make that a different color. Bold it, italicize it. Then I'm going to go to my vertical axis tile and put growth in centimeters. And let's change it once again All these changes are going to drive me crazy, but you will see that this is something similar to what your students will do if they have creative freedom. Now you have your chart. If this is exactly how you want it set up with your graph and everything, then you can go back up here to the top and do chart styles, and that's where you can have a little more fun with things. You can make it 3D. You can maximize it, but to me that makes it a little too crowded with all of our titles and everything, so I don't like that button. But I can change my fonts. So there is my pretty chart. And you can see over here, I've made a couple of different ones. Let me move them around so we can see all of them. And let me zoom out some. Okay, so I've made 3 different types of charts here. You'll notice on this scatter plot I did not edit the title, so that's why that one's not as detailed. But I have a couple different bar and column graphs there. And so if you ever get into this, so when you get to this point, you can, if you need to go back into the editor to change something, you just have to click those 3 dots right there, and you can edit the chart. You can even download it as an image if you just want to save just the chart. You can move it to its own sheet. You can copy it. So if you want to go back into Customizer, you just go right up there and you can change things. You can even, if you get this far, switch it back. Like I said, switch to a different kind. But again, it doesn't keep all your customization, so you will have to go back and do that. This was not a deep dive into Google Sheets, but hopefully it was beneficial to show you how to get those charts and graphs on there. Please let me know if you would like me to expand or what you want me to cover next. Thanks. Okay, so I know you guys may have thought that that was the end, and it was going to be the end of this video. But I came over to Canva and I was like, ooh, let me make a cute graphic to put on in the video so that, this says, hey, graphs and charts in Google Sheets. And I searched graphs, and there are tons of them. Like, you could just create your graphs and things in Canva. So like I could let me find a bar graph. I'm going to turn this into my plant growth in this soil comparison. So I'm going to say here, sterilize soil. This is just me putting in all of the data that we had on our Google Sheet. Okay, so there I have my graph there with my weeks, and I don't really need all of this extra stuff. This doesn't really fit for what I'm doing, so I'm just going to take that away. I'm going to move some of things around for my titles, but I want to make my graph a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do that, center it, perfect. So I'm going to say, rename these weeks, rename this growth, and CM, and rotate it. Plant growth. And the neat thing about Canva, and I'm sure you can do this in, you can insert images and things in Sheets as well. personalize it however you want to in there. And then when you're in Canva, to save that, you will just you can throw it up in Google Classroom, or you can just download it as an image, download, and it'll be right there. Please let me know if you have any questions.